Welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to be bolting the timing and the heads and getting this motor buttoned up. Last weekend off camera I file fitted my rings, bearings, did the whole bottom end, and boy, that'd be painful to have to edit all that film. So we're just going to skip right ahead. First order of business today is we're going to be putting the timing set, oil pump, all that stuff on. A little bit of information when I was kind of looking at this before I started. This little guy here, 5.3s don't use this little guy. I see that Melling makes a bracket to use this, but after researching and reading and all that, sounds like most guys aren't worried about this little tensioner because, as you'll see later, it's a really short timing chain. Also, like everything on this project, maybe I was a little reckless with throwing things away. I'm not a hoarder. But a big holdup with not doing this job last weekend was I didn't have a Woodruff key for my timing gear on my crank. So another 12 bucks, another couple days lost. Anyways, got my key, got my timing set, got my oil pump stuff over on the shelf over there. Let's get into it. So I've got my key in here. It's a little bit stiff. I'm gonna take the dead blow hammer. I'm not actually sure if this timing gear is gonna be hard to get on or not, but we're about to find out. Feel like I should oil this most likely. That slips on pretty good. We're not putting oil on this. We're just gonna put assembly lube on everything. I'm sure there's somebody out there gonna say I'm doing this wrong. We're now 30 seconds into this deal, and I already pulled a bonehead move. So, I put my timing gear on the crank backwards. Of course I did. I feel like an idiot. I probably should feel like an idiot. Pull him out, spin him around, timing key, Woodruff key still in there, spin it around, bam. All right, so we've got the oil pump torqued down, cam gear torqued down, time to put on the timing cover. And then the fun one will be getting that ATI damper on here.
Boy, did I get roasted in a previous video the way I did this one.
And that was a nightmare to get on. So I hope it doesn't go that way on this one. So this guy over here, start a couple bolts in the top. All right, that's not backwards. My God, I'm not batting 1,000 here. If it could possibly be backwards, I'm gonna get it backwards. It seems like, at least today, man. Tried to clean all these bolts up. I obviously didn't buy new bolts all the way through for this guy. It already cost enough money what I got going on here. I bagged everything in a way that made sense when it came apart. But now that this thing's going together, it doesn't make any sense what I had going there. But it probably got torn apart in a different process. I don't know, like all things I do, I tear it apart and then I let it sit for a year. And I totally forget any bit of planning I had. All right, next up, we button up the bottom end. And nobody told me I was gonna have to drill this guy so it fit over those ARP studs. They're definitely larger. To the drill press. All right, I'm gonna use a Orby bit. It's like my favorite thing in the world for everything. And they're cheap. And they don't screw up drill bits. Let's go for it. All right, now we cleaned it up real good. None of this bull and the fresh motor. All right, and it fits. Maybe a little excessive, but it fits. And we use our last few bolts that were included in the ARP job. Before I entirely butt this thing up with an oil pan, I'm just gonna spin the motor over one full cycle. Make sure I don't hear anything weird, because this splash pan in here, with the ARP stuff, it didn't exactly go on like factory. I am confident in buttoning the bottom end of this motor up. Well, that was easy. Everything lines up pretty well. I've got my oil pan with my oil drain -10AN fitting welded on. And then I have my oil feed, turbo oil feed. This is a Motion Raceworks bracket. Bolts right on above where the factory oil filter goes. We've got a -3AN feed hose. There it is. Now the next obstacle, find the bolts. Oil pan alignment and torque critical. See service manual. Yeah, right. I'd say it's torqued. We're gonna go around a safety pass here. That bitch ain't going nowhere. Yeah, boy. Now since we're here working on the front end, we're gonna get into the ATI Super Damper. These historically for me have been incredibly hard to get onto the crank. I don't know, I might take this guy in and put it in the oven in the house. It's gotta fit. That or I'll maybe go get a butane torch or something. The size of this right now, this is 1" 480. That is sitting at 1" 481 right now, so we should have very little clearance. I'm hoping it just slides right on. We're about to find out. Boy, and it does not want to go. That's it. We're on. And then we'll slip the balancer on. All right, I got my hub heated and shrunk onto my crank. That's all the way on tight. Now we've got the balancer on here. We're gonna torque everything down. 18 foot-pounds of torque. Five and 6. And then got our 12.38. Those are also going to be 18 foot-pounds of torque. Three. And we'll check the first one. Still tight. And I'm just gonna go around all these guys again, because when they're not very high torque, I worry. So I thought about this and I didn't do it, but I've got my lifters. I'm about ready to put them in. I did a little Googling and I kind of found mixed reviews, and I think everybody arrives exactly where I'm arriving. These things do have oil in them, but I'm still gonna put them in a coffee can and let them soak for a while. I wish I would have just done this. I thought about it. They say you don't have to do hydraulic lifters, but I'm gonna let them soak. These are just covered in oil. I probably really don't have to do this. We're gonna let these soak just like that. I don't know about overnight, but I'm gonna let them soak. I'm gonna roll them around. Probably gonna install them in like 10 minutes. Yoink. New lifter trays, new lifter tray bolts. Let's get the lifter in. Yeah, them bad boys are fine. Well, I should put these in the trays. They say they hold when they're brand new. Oh yeah, they do. They hold good. And 4. Got oil just dripping off of these guys. They gotta be good. Get them lined up with all the lifter bores. Bam. All right, lifters are in the trays. Oh, these trays are directional, I believe. Yep. And I put this side in upside down. Yeah. Dang. Why did I do that? I'm just the king of backwards today. Come on, give me the things. There we go. Got the trays on right now. Boom. They go down. I'm gonna put it on time lapse, keep going here, tighten these guys down. So after a few days off here in the garage, we're back at it. I've been having a hell of a time getting the right head studs from Summit. The blah, 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 04 and later, or later, blah, blah, blah. Later to me is older, and that is backwards. Enough rambling. Got the right head studs now. Gonna get some head studs put in. Pretty big things happening around here. I got rid of that pile of garbage snowmobile. That makes me happy. Had enough of that thing. So what you'll find in my, I believe, 2000 LS is you've got 4 short studs. Or 4 short studs. You've got 12 long studs. The short ones go on the top, front and back. That I screwed up on. We finally have it straight. Good thing is I've got a set of ARP head studs on the shelf. I've got another set that last night I panicked and thought I had the wrong head studs again, so I paid for next air from Summit. So currently we're out like $1,000 in head studs. It's awesome. Good thing Summit's good about returns. Anyways, let's put these guys in. They say to clean the holes out. Who has, real question, who has a tap with that thread pitch? Because I work at a large machine shop and we don't have that thread pitch. I'm sure it's something custom. You probably should get it from ARP. But for the amount of money that we pay for this little box of goodies, God, you'd think they'd put a tap in there. Charge more money. I mean, whatever. That'd be nice. Anyways, enough rambling. I blew out all my holes real good. I think it's fine. Anyways, here we go. That's a good one. Next up, head gaskets. The ARP instructions said put the head gasket on, thread the studs through. Probably for a reason, but I'm stubborn, so we're gonna go ahead without. We already got the studs on. What side? Front. Oh, yep, front. Well, the head gasket goes right on, so that's good. I was wondering if the studs were a little bigger or something, and they wouldn't fit, or they wouldn't line up well, but they work good. So, front. I guess it doesn't really matter. Front is front. And then I talk some shit too soon. By the way, Brian Tooley Racing multi-layer head gaskets. The only way to go. I've learned that one the hard way in past builds. So, a little more money than what you're gonna find wherever, but these things will hold. I've never done boosted, but they've held in my experience. And I've sprayed a lot of nitrous, and they hold. They're very specific in the ARP instructions to have the bolt seats very clean and very clean. Bolt seats for the head bolts, head studs. So I'm gonna clean those guys up real good, and then we're gonna drop a head on. So next up, they say to use their fastener assembly lubricant. Put some on the stud, put some on the nut. The bottom of the nut. Well, I got the heads on. I probably should have put this guy on the studs before I put the heads on, but I'm just gonna squirt some of this in the bottom of the nuts and then also on the sealing area of the bottom of the nut. So we'll go through that now. So what I'm gonna do, get a little of this stove. Boy, it's runny. I hope it doesn't stay runny like this. There we go. Get some in the threads and on bottom. That'll do the trick. So, I'm not gonna bore you with installing assembly grease on nuts. All right, we got all our big nuts on. I'm gonna run these guys down close to the impact gun. I'm not actually rattling these things down. I have my gun set on tighten, like loosely. All right, they're sucked down. And now we torque. The best part about ARP head studs, no torque and angle, just torque. We're gonna go around at first, 25 foot-pounds, just like the pattern says. Got my cheapo Napa wrench here. Once we get up to 50 and 80, I'm gonna switch to my fancier torque wrench so that I trust a whole lot more. So, start in the middle and working a star pattern out. $25. About these Summit roller tip rockers, a stock LS is considered a roller rocker, but this is a roller tip rocker. That'd be the difference. For a trending eliminator kit, it was going to cost a couple $100. These lifters, well, they're a couple $100 more, and that's how this whole project's gone. So anyways, I'm going to put these guys on. What I didn't do is I did not buy push rods yet because I want to make sure I have the right length push rods, and honestly I thought I had some 7.4 inchers laying around from one of my old builds and I can't find them. So we've got the test length push rod here. Take this guy, you can thread the end out so you get your length for checking. Now what they have is they have these little channels here and then these little T-nut deals, I guess we'll call them. Anyways, they say those go like so. The channel goes on the head, the T-nut goes in the slot, and the rocker goes right on top. I think I got those set together. Now I know we're aiming for 7.4 inch. So I'm gonna set my tester here to 7.4, and he goes a long ways out, I hope, because I'm a long ways from 7.4. We got our rockers, our test push rod set to about 385, which is about how long a 7.4 inch rocker is. I don't know why they call them 7.4. Maybe it would be if that didn't have the hole in the end, if this in the imaginary sphere, maybe that would be 7.4. So we're gonna set this guy in the hole, make sure we're on the lifter, and gonna bolt this guy up. I'm choosing a cylinder that I know is closed all the way, and I can see in the front of the motor, I can see that number 1 is slightly open. Sorry, I'm using number 2, and number 2 is all the way closed. Boy, those are really close to the head. Man, I hope those clear. It's gonna clear, but it's gonna be close. And I can't really get my finger in there on that guy. Maybe I'll pull this rocker off. Now I can reach in here. And I can spin the rocker just barely. So we're gonna run 7.4 inch rockers. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make this so you can see, but I'm getting in here and I'm spinning this rocker, and just with my fingertips I can feel it just barely wanting to spin, which means it's not too tight and there's definitely no slop. It's not too loose. And just like that, here's the beauty of Amazon Prime. I needed push rods yesterday. I found them on Amazon, got them today. Only problem with living remote is I had to drive 20 miles to one of the little Amazon drop-offs to get them. But I had no push rods yesterday, and I have chromoly 7.4-inch push rods today. So we're gonna get these guys open, and we're gonna get this top end buttoned up, get some valve covers on, and drop a motor in. So before I sew up the top end of this engine, I'm gonna put all my push rods in. I'm gonna put a little of this assembly goop on each end of the push rod. Just never can be too safe. Drop these guys in. Once these are in, then we'll go through and we'll do the torque sequence on the rocker arms, and then we can put the valve covers on. And now I'm gonna get all my rockers assembled. I have this set of rockers assembled. I'm just gonna loosely thread them all on, all the way around the motor, and then we'll go through with the torque sequence and button it all up. All right, next up is the torque sequence. So we have everything finger tight down both sides. And then instead of using my phone, I just wrote it down because I can never remember that. So intake 1278, exhaust 1278.
And this is where we'll end the video. Catch me on the next one when I'm finally installing this thing. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.